All right, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. This coming Saturday, Regis Prograis, the 140-pound WBC champion, takes on Devin the Dream Haney. I forgot to say Rougarou, Regis's nickname. That's probably one of the best nicknames in boxing. Listen, this is a great fight to almost end out a great year. 2023 has been magnificent. And the build up to this fight has been pretty epic. They have really pushed the promotions on it. I love it. That's how you really promote a fight. It's on pay-per-view. It's in the Bay Area. And stylistically, it's a really interesting matchup. So let's talk about it. Boxing. As always, shout out to all the subscribers. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Peace and love to you. Gratitude to anybody new. Welcome along. Right, let's get into this fight straight away, okay? Because it does have a divided opinion. You've got obviously the Regis camp that expecting a knockout, suggesting he probably can't win on points, and he's going to go in there and try to bully Haney. Get on the inside, maybe get him on the ropes, you know, just try to do what he did against Zorilla in moments, even though Zorilla's defense was superb. I'll try and pull up a clip if I can, but Regis's best opportunity will depend on how Haney fights, but realistically his best opportunity is to cut the ring off, and I made a video about that, and I'm going to go into detail in this video about cutting the ring off. But he had trouble in the Zorilla fight cutting the ring off, closing the distance, okay? So well, many people, including me, think that's probably why Haney took that fight, because he's just a far better version, far better than Zorilla, just at what he does as well. He's got a way better jab. You know, Zorilla's concentration levels were extremely high, and that was one of the reasons he stuck to a game plan. I think he caught Prograis by surprise as well, and then he has that snake charming ability where all of a sudden you can get to the middle rounds and you're thinking, how the hell do we get here? But a lot of people thought Prograis lost that fight. He definitely got dropped and they didn't call it, and he said he fell on his feet. Maybe he did, but there was a punch that landed for sure. Either way, he was having trouble with that style. So if Devin Haney fights like that, which I think he will, a lot of people do, fights off the back foot, keeps it poised, calm, flashes the jab, pop shots with that backhand, that right hand, and when Prograis gets close, he likes to duck in and clinch. Okay? Which I've got no issues with, really, as long as it's not excessive holding or anything like that. Clinching is a skill. It's part of the game. And Devin Haney's really good at doing it because he gets the timing right. He can understand when there's a threat, and as I said, he'll duck down like that. Now, will Prograis be able to counteract the duck with like a left uppercut if he's a southpaw, right? He's not that kind of twitchy, flashy fighter. Do you know what I mean? It would take for you to have a quick reaction uppercut to get that duck down. But there's going to be loads more facets to this fight, because you know, if Regis can't have any success cutting the ring off at all or closing the distance, then it should be a relatively comfortable win for Devin Haney, I think. I'll get onto the prediction a bit later. I think it will be a very comfortable win. But let's just say Prograis, obviously, they went back to the drawing board after that, and he probably learned a massive amount of how to, you know, cut the ring off and what he was doing wrong. Because when you're in a fight like that, and like I said, you can blink your eyes and to make adjustments, his footwork really isn't suited for that, you know. His footwork, he is flat-footed, which suits his style. He really likes, you know, he likes to use that. He's got really amazing upper body head movement, and he likes you right here, and he can counter a little bit, but he's an instinctual fighter. You know, he fights with his hands down, and he'll throw the occasional jab. He has an up jab, but he's all over the place. You know, he's kind of herky-jerky, actually, but he relies on instinct, and he likes you right there. And, you know, he can box off the back foot, but he likes that mid-range, long range. He can fight on the inside as well if you're there. But if you're not there, we saw what happened with Zorilla, who took advantage of that. Now, laterally, no, let's talk about cutting the ring off, because it is a dying art. It really is. And if you want to watch that video, I made a long version of it. I'll leave the link up here. But I went into details because in essence, it's quite simple, right? You have to try to guide or match where your opponent is going step for step. Slowly guide them into typically the corner or a part of the ring you want them on the ropes, and like ease the pressure in without getting too close, because Devin Haney's gonna pop shot him or jab him. He's got probably the best jab, one of the best jabs in the game, and he was landing that beautifully against Lomachenko. Obviously good practice for Haney. But the systematic, slow psychological pressure of cutting the ring off when you do it properly, which again, like very few fighters really know how to do it well these days. And there is a mentality to it. But just from a basic level of catch, where if Haney goes this way, you got to step that way. Try to be one step ahead of him. If he comes over to the corner, try and punch him there without getting hit yourself. Try to keep guiding him until you get to that point where you can then explode and let your offense go. But it's easier said than done, especially when you have flatter feet and not as quicker feet. And one thing that I noticed in that, I'll pull up the clip now, is what Regis does, not all the time, but he'll lead with his heel, okay? Now that's gonna slow you down, whatever you do. If you try, when you walk down the street, you're not gonna walk with your heel first, are you? And in boxing, it's milliseconds difference, right? And if maybe he'll clean this up, maybe he will, but the amount of time he's had and who he is as a fighter, he's never gonna get so good at it, I don't think. And, stranger things have happened in the boxing ring, but he does go heel first, and his footwork is just a little slower and a little more plodding and flat-footed. Again, usually it sounds like that's a criticism, but it works for his style because he's here and he can get full weight on the shot, so he can move his head. It helps with his head movement. But when you're coming forward, you really want to be on the front part of your foot, like chasing your opponent, and he's got to try to get a bit more creative with that jab as well. You want to come in, and then when he dropped Zorilla, he actually worked it perfectly because he was timing Zorilla. He slipped his jab, he came in, and then he countered him, and it was a great shot. He needs to do more of that, but that's not going to be easy, and it's going to be very difficult, I think, because Haney's going to have a game plan. Kambosos 1 is similar. I know Kambosos is a totally different fighter, but going into that fight, I was like, Haney's just going to jab, clinch, move, hold him, concentration, just stick to the game plan. A lot of people think that Haney's defense isn't that good. I think it is very good when he's focusing on it, right? It's like I think when he's like gets caught in between two, it's one of the most difficult things to do, to attack and defend at the same time. But his defense, I think, is really good if he's just focusing on that. Same with his offense, really. But when he puts them both together, it's not as good. He's a good fighter, don't get me wrong. He's a damn good fighter. He's a former undisputed champ. He just gave his belts up, obviously. He's looking pretty solid at 140. He's building out into that weight. He needed to go up in weight. And I don't think he's going to be too physically outgunned, to be honest with you. Maybe he will, because I know Regis is very physical, and that's where his advantages will be. But Haney, like, he's long and he's tall. His clinch game is really good. His jab is really good. He's going to pop shot. Maybe he's got a bit more power. Physical strength won't be as I mentioned, but it will be interesting to see, if and when that gap does get closed for however long and for however many periods, and what kind of damage can Regis do? Because that's his best opportunity in my book. Now, will he be able to catch Haney with that back left hand? That's Regis's best punch. I doubt it. I know that's his money shot, and like I said, he sets it up when people are just right there in the mid-range, and he'll come in and throw a kind of he's got an interesting, almost awkward looking backhand, right? The actual trajectory of it and the flow of it and the leverage of it is it looks a bit clubbing, but it's effective. Okay, but I'm just wondering, from a southpaw to where Haney is, where he's just watching this, whether the trajectory of the punch isn't straight enough to really catch Haney. I could be wrong. I really don't think Regis is going to have a lot of success with that back left hand, but I hope he does, because it will make for a better fight. I don't have a horse in the race. I love Regis as a fighter. I've watched him for so many years. I've got respect for both these guys. I wish we have a great fight and they can let it hang out, because it does feel like the build up to this has been great with the promotions, although it has been a bit pally-pally, hasn't it? Have you noticed that? It's got this aggression, which I love, and this back and forth and all the I don't know, insults and whatever they were saying back and forth. But there's the chumminess, which I'm like, I don't really love that. It's like I want to see that real animosity. Not always, but it makes for a more serious fight, because I think potentially that could encapsulate what the fight will be. Whereas, like, are we expecting it to be, really aggressive and a barn burner, or will it just be Devin Haney just outboxing Haney and it outboxing himself, outboxing Prograis, and it not being what a lot of people might think as an amazing fight, and it could be, but with all the smiles and the jokes and the laughs, does that take the sting out of it? We'll see. Because Prograis, like I said, I've followed him for a while. He's ready to go. He is ready to go. And this is what I love about him. He's a world champion right now. He's 34. He's coming on the tail end of his career. I'm not saying he's anywhere near done, but he's still putting in the hard work, and his energy is just up there. Like, he's on it. And when he lost to Josh Taylor, he wanted to get his belts back, and I was following him quite hard. And I saw the intensity. He was able to take his desire to another level, and he got his belt back. And then, he might have had another fight before Zorilla, or maybe not, I can't remember. But the Zorilla fight, I know it was a late replacement, but his energy's high anyway. He's always prepared, but it wasn't quite like it was against Cepeda, and it wasn't quite like it is now. And this is what gives me a little bit of a thought about Regis is on it. Okay, it's made me think a little bit twice about my prediction, because I do think Devin Haney's going to outbox Regis Prograis somewhat comfortably. But the more of these shows that I watch, I'm like, wow, Regis he's coming. But will that play into Haney's hands? Okay, if you're overly aggressive and you're trying a bit too hard, you tend to open up a little bit and show more tells than you'd like to, right? You might get frustrated, or you might try to move your hand a little bit more before you step in, or do something a little too obvious for Haney to see, and he's going to see that if he does that. Maybe Haney will try to box with him a little bit, or I'm not box with him, but just divert from the game plan a bit. I think if you're the Haney camp, just do what Zorilla did. That's it. Just use the jab, use the pot shots when he comes in. Keep your concentration level really, 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 really high. Don't switch off for a second when he comes in. If you do get backed into the corner, there was a couple of moments where Loma backed him into the corner, and he was able to jab his way out, or get that clinch going, all right, and turn and hold him, and that's it. Just do that. Gonna make for a lesser entertaining fight, but they're here to win. That's it. It's not about the tough guy thing, and this is why you always favor the boxer in these situations, because they know how to really diffuse the animal, Rougarou. So I can see that happening. I think I just can't see Regis being able to cut the ring off consistently, because it is a discipline. It's a thought process. It's something you have to do all the time if you have to do it in that fight. You can't switch off and suddenly not start cutting the ring off, because then it'll just make it easier. And the amount of times Regis was just letting Zorilla off the hook. And actually, one thing I saw a couple times where his head movement is so, like, I don't want to say exaggerated, because it's so beautiful, but it is so wide and long. It actually can prevent him from helping Haney get out of the way. I'll show you the clip on what I'm talking about, where Prograis didn't really come at an angle, right? You got to try and guide your fighter into the corner. And I made an analogy, right? If you have like let's just say a cat or a chicken in your house randomly and it's just an empty room, right? You're not going to come in from the side of the room because the cat's just going to run out the other way. You're going to try to come and walk the cat down gradually just to pin it into the corner. That's cutting the ring off, basically. Obviously, there's far more deeper details than that, but you know what I'm saying? You have to match your opponent to where they're going. Anticipate where they're going. Guide them where you want them to go, and then you got to explode as well. It's a never-ending process, and he's got to keep doing that. Can he do that? I don't think he can, just based off of his career-long footwork, which has been very flat-footed, which has worked in his favor. So, and then, you know, can he do something about those clinches before they happen? As I said, a left uppercut I think is right there. If you got a southpaw coming in here and you ducking like this, if you're Haney and you're ducking, there's a left uppercut right there. On top of one last punch, and before I go, Haney's backhand uppercut is actually a shot to look out for as well, because he comes, if Regis comes rushing in, bam, just catch him with that right uppercut, clinch, turn, boom, back on the jab. I think Devin Haney's going to win a unanimous decision. Yeah. You know, I like I said, got so much love for Regis, throwback fighter, followed him for years. His whole energy and his nickname, and you know, he's just great. They're both top fighters, and it's great to see they're getting in the ring. And like I said, we've had a great year, and I'm working on a 2023 highlight reel of all the best fights from this year. So, but that's it from me. I had to take it easy on all the editing today. I usually like to lay down loads of footage and show you everything, but I've got a lot of stuff going on. I've got other projects and I've got other bits and bobs going on, so I tried to just sit here and chat a bit of boxing with you guys. Hopefully it worked out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who have you got? Why? Peace and love. Boxing on the Edge. Have a great week, all right? I'm out.
Boxing.